タイトルを見ていただいた通り、今日この動画では皆さんご存知 USDT これを発行しているテザー社の CTO ですね、チーフテクノロジーオフィサーのパオロさんに、インタビューできたので、その内容を皆さんにお届けしたいと思います。で、このパオロさんは USDT もテザー社の CTO だけじゃなくて、ビットフィネックスの CTO でもあるということで、もうこの業界で言うともうトップ中のトップみたいな形ですけどね。なので、もうすごくね、勉強になるかなと思います。で、ちなみにこの動画は、後半です。前半はコインクラブの方でやってるので、ぜひそっち見てください。で、そっちでは、例えば彼のキャリアだったりとか、ビットコインの真のポテンシャルについて語ってます。で、ここでは、例えばライトニングネットワーク、リクイッドネットワークを使うとビットコインで例えばトランザクションのスピードがめちゃくちゃ上がるとか、あとはスマートコントラクトが実装できるかもとかね、なんかすごい夢のような世界が広がった、そんなね話をできているので、ぜひ楽しみにしておいてください。で、そっちを見てからこの後半で見てくださいね。で、こっちでは USDT 今後のステーブルコインのレギュレーションどうなるのかとか、あとはまあセントラルエクスチェンジのね今後とか、まあそんなところとかいろいろね話しているので、まあすごくね楽しめる内容になっていると思うので、まず前半を見てこっち来てみてください。それではどうぞ。Let's move on to the topic to the USDT.That you guys are building so much, and you just to connect to the previous conversation in terms of scalability, you issued USDT in Liquid network as well, right?
Yep.
What that means, I was thinking about, okay, so that what does that mean? Like I can just use basically everybody can technically use USDT for the daily transaction because it can probably scale a lot, right? That's the kind of intention of like issuing USDT in the Liquid too.
So one of the things that I think that one of the reasons, well, there are multiple reasons why issuing USDT on Liquid. One, for example, is atomic swaps, right? So you can do atomic swaps between Bitcoin and USDT. So you can build a decentralized and trustless exchange in that way. So then there is the idea of adding Lightning on Liquid, so that now this USDT, because Liquid has a block time of 1 minute, right? So it's not crazy fast. But if on top of it you add Lightning, then it becomes crazy fast, right? So the idea is that Lightning, the standard Lightning supports only BTC. But the idea is to create Lightning that supports liquid assets, so that we could now achieve an impressive number of transactions per second on Liquid via Lightning Network on Liquid for USDT as well.
Yeah, I see. Whoa, okay, that's really interesting. Okay, so I kind of wanted to ask this question about like a stable coin, like a regulation, which is kind of like a hot topic, I think. And I know it's sensitive stuff, so like you don't need to answer everything, like as much as you can would be great. But so yesterday, I think Circle, did the news about the SEC was investigating the Circle, and it seems like that's not the first case, right? I mean, those like regulators started to kind of like a crack down or whatever, like it started to kind of dig more into stablecoin space, and I was wondering like what do they want to know? Like what's their interest in their in the stablecoin operation? Is it like the collateralization of the asset, or is it more like a technical like stuff, including like security, or like what I wonder maybe if you can touch on what's their agenda, or like what's their interest?
Sure. So I think that there are multiple things that they're interested in, right?
Yeah.
So and the stable coins like Tether, like USDC, like Paxos, these are centralized stable coins, right? So centralized because in the end people think that somehow they are, or could mistake them as decentralized, but actually these stable coins use a decentralized transport layer, but the backing is centralized. So in the end, the stable coins centralized, right? So it's important to differentiate the transport layer from the actual decentralization of the control. So the Tether control is under Tether limit. So it's important. So for these stable coins that are centralized, of course, since they are using the banking rail, these stable coins has to be to be working fairly and openly with the regulators. So Tether has been working with regulators all over the world for the last 7 years. So and they are interested in many different things. For example, of course, they want to, from one point of view, they want to ensure the protection for customers.
Yeah.
Another thing is ensuring that the stable coins are not used for any illicit operation, right? So, for example, money laundering. So these are topics that they are interested in and they are open to discuss, right? So regulators is not necessarily if are asking you information, they are public, right? So sometimes you see, okay, the SEC sent a letter, and that's not a bad thing per se. They have to ask information so that they can evaluate what is being doing. Because in the end, decentralized stablecoins there should be a clear regulation for centralized stablecoins. Tether created the entire stablecoin space in 2014. So what we see today, and we see many competitors and so on that jumped on board for making an extra bot for they are basically the other stable coins were created by bankers, right? That decide, okay, there is money to be made, let's do it. Really, Tether created this stable coin industry in 2014, and the point was that we had this amazing technology that was the Bitcoin blockchain. So and Tether team. Carl and Phil and Craig, they thought, okay, we have this technology. Now, can we use it to move dollars? I mean, if you think about it, putting a dollar on blockchain is a super simple idea, right? At that time, it was not, it was simple, but was extremely visionary. Now, today, everyone, their mothers and their sisters are talking about stablecoins. But in 2014, when this idea was created, there was no regulation because, first of all, regulators weren't even regulating Bitcoin and cryptos in general. Even more so, stablecoins. So the Tether team looked at the regulatory frameworks and started to work in an area that was not regulated, so was asking questions to regulators, was going around to in different jurisdictions to find the right way to do things. So because you have to ask questions, you have to know, okay, I want to do this stuff, right? So how I can do it and still follow the rules, but rules that are not exactly done for my business model. So I will apply these rules that are the closest rules possible, right? So this is basically what happens, and now we are in a situation where from 2021 stablecoins grew like crazy. So now we're it's like 140 billion dollar market cap. And now of course regulators are looking more closely, they are paying attention, but that is a good thing, it's not a bad thing, right? Because we as Tether, we would spend much less time in trying to understand what to do and how to do it if we had the clear guidance, right? So we had to ask these clear guidance so many times, and we had so many challenges to find that, right? And now if we see that regulators are coming up with clear guidances, we are extremely welcoming of that. So, because you put yourself in the shoes of a team that wants, that build this entire thing, and they say, okay, now, if we keep growing, can you help us in understanding how exactly we can keep growing, right? So, I think that we are hearing that regulators might want to regulate stablecoins as banks. That could mean like maybe be public about the holdings. That's okay. We will comply. So it's about setting clear rules so we can provide the information that is required. We can follow the regulations and so on. So and ensure the other stablecoins feel the same way, right? So everyone wants to work with the regulators in order to set the right path.
I see. So when we talk about, for example, like just specifically in the US, that's because that's like a hottest, like, like a Gary Gensler, for example, he's just like publicly talk about all these things right now. So when we talk about like a regulation, is that what kind of like a level of regulation do you kind of expect? Do you have like a scenario planning? For example, is that just like maybe require you to get the banking license, or is it just straight up like, I don't know, like a banning, I don't know, stable coin, right? Or like, I just don't know like what level of like a regulation that could potentially come. And do you have like any sort of like a realistic kind of like expectation that you have from those regulator?
I don't think that we'll. So first of all, Tether is not servicing US, right? So we are not servicing US. But I don't believe that. I don't believe that regulators are interested in banning stable coins, right? So it could mean, so there are different levels when they say we are interested to regulate stable coins at banking level, like in a bank-like way. It could mean different things like reporting. So we as Tether, we are registered with FinCEN, so we have the obligation to report to FinCEN and so on. It's something that we take good care of, because it's important again that we are seen as good actors. We work with law enforcement regulators for so many years. We have to law enforcement to recover assets on behalf of customers that were hacked, for hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Yeah. So we are, in a way, on a technological side, and in many different ways, we are much better than banks, because banks is really harder for them to reclaim some funds, while for us, we have control of smart contracts. We can do that, and we proved that we can do it. Yeah. And we got a lot of praise from law enforcement and regulators for that. So that's good things, right? So is not that there are, so they are looking at the good things and the bad things. So when it comes to, so that's why I think that they see the power of stable coins, and that's why they are, in my opinion, they don't have interest in shutting them down. They probably want stable coins to be more public about, their reserves, or if not public, they want to give strict guidelines on how those reserves would look like, right? So, for example, you can hold this, but you cannot hold that. If you hold this, it has to be rated like that. For example, Tether, everyone was talking about Tether commercial papers, but the vast majority of Tether commercial papers is rated A2 and above. Not by the grocery on the end of the street, by S&P, Moody's, and Fitch, right? Yeah. So that the three biggest U.S. institutions. So we are ready, without yet a clear guidance. We are already going toward that spot. Tether provided a breakdown of reserves, right? So what we have in a different type of assets, and when one step further, gave also the ratings of the assets that we have. So there are many steps that we are doing while we are waiting for additional regulations. Another side is the KYC AML. Yeah. So Tether has a strong KYC AML program. I cannot talk about the others because I don't know what they're doing. But Tether is renowned for having a really thorough onboarding system. That's why we don't have many customers. We prefer to have a lower number of customers on the Tether side, because we ask so many documents. We do so much due diligence before onboarding the customer. Right? And that's something that regulators are interested in. They want to know that you are following the same rules that a bank would follow. Yeah. So it's not that. So I don't think regulators will say, okay, you have to implement all these things because you don't have them. Yeah. I believe that they will give rules, and the majority of the things that will say, that will ask, we will have already implemented, or we are on the path to implement them. Right? For example, Tether is working actively on a full audit, right? So we are providing right now attestations as the other stablecoin issuers. We are doing a quarterly attestation that is provided by Thailand, that is part of more Global, that is one of the top 10 accounting firms in this world, right? So we have people that know that they have a huge expertise in accounting. that are looking at our numbers and so on. They provide a quarterly attestation with the breakdown reserves, with the ratings, and then we are working on the full audit. The full audit is even more thorough. It goes like 2-3 years back, right? They check all the transactions and so on. So it's not that we are waiting on the sidelines, if you see what I mean. It's like we are extremely proactive, because when we want to do as many things as possible to be ready for all the possible requests from regulators.
Yeah. So we don't need to worry about, for example, the Evergrande at all, right? Because you don't have it.
No.
Yeah.
We don't have definitely we were extremely public. We don't have I also read it.
Yeah.
And it's not that we don't have it, right? We never had it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify, because I got some comments, like a request from the viewers. So I just wanted to kind of make it clear. So, okay, the one last thing about like, the stable coin is that I wonder like how you see in 5 years, how stablecoin and CBDC will coexist together. I don't think it's a zero-sum game. I do think like both exist. But I do feel like though, like it's honestly to me, I use USDT like literally daily life. Like I just send money to friends and even use the business. So kind of in a way that's acting as like a official currency to me. Like, so how do you see this like a CBDCs and stablecoin kind of coexist together? Maybe a use case or.
I have a clear picture in mind. So I think that and that goes back to the beginning of our chat, where I was saying I was expressing to you my frustration of working in my early days in the financial industry, right? So the thing is that banking systems and banking infrastructure is extremely outdated, is slow, and is expensive to maintain. So CBDCs, in my opinion, are an experiment for central banks to issue their national digital currency. The majority of the currency, their national currency, is already digital. Let's not forget about that. But so what they are meaning, actually, if you think about it, is they just want to use a better transport layer that is blockchain, because it will reduce the cost, it will make the money more programmable, it will, among all the banks, right, not necessarily the point of sale of the shop in your nearby your home, right, but the entire interbanking monetary system could really use a refresh in terms of technology. So I'm envisioning basically all these wire protocols will change just to be based on a blockchain, maybe a private blockchain, right? People cannot really think that the Central European Bank will issue an Ethereum or on Solana, right? So they will have their own private blockchain that will start from zero, and on a day they will start pushing banks to adopt it. We'll give all the toolings, and the banks can start adopting, and then the money can flow from one side to another. And then after a while, of course, the blockchain's base interbanking system will grow, will become better over time, and will attract more liquidity, will suck liquidity from the outdated system, so that they can shut down the old system. It's the only way to make a global infrastructure upgrade, if you think about it, right? So it's a way for central banks to see or to experiment how they can upgrade their monetary system. And for Tether, for privately issued stable coins like Tether, I mean, we will be the ones that issue on Ethereum, on Bitcoin, on Tron, and so on. We are the ones that will take care of that part, right? And so, and for us, what will change? Will change just instead of a customer that will send a wire to us, we'll send or steal a wire, but it will not be like an old type of wire. The transport layer of the wire will be just different. Will be settled on this private central bank controlled blockchain. So it will not change anything, in my opinion, for privately issued stablecoins, apart from what we said about regulations and how we will grow that landscape. But when it comes to the opportunities that have privately issued stablecoins, I don't see a big change there.
I see. That's very interesting. I just realized it's already like an hour.
We had fun.
Yeah, I know. Like you have like a meeting after this, right?
I have 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes? Yeah,
yes.
because I wanted to kind of ask you about the Bitfinex and so that people can know in Japan. Yeah, is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, cool. So you also CTO at the Bitfinex, and maybe people who are watching this, and some people might not know about Bitfinex. Maybe could you tell us about in Bitfinex and what's really unique about and exciting thing about it?
So Bitfinex is an exchange that was born in 2012. I joined late 2014. It's one of the first Bitcoin exchanges, right? So when people look at Bitcoin exchanges, I and they ask me, of course I'm biased, right? But it is important to understand and to pick your exchange on not just for of course for the features, right? Or maybe it has the exchange has some currencies that you would like to trade, another one does not have them, and so on. But the solidity and the longevity of the exchange is extremely important, right? So Bitfinex is an exchange that will celebrate next year 10 years of existence. Is one of the oldest. Survives to different difficult situations and always come back stronger, right? It's easy to be. What I'm saying is, it's easy to be an exchange for 2-3 years. Try to do it for 10 years, and then you let it know, right? So in 10 years, we have seen so many things, and we keep growing. And Bitfinex business keeps growing. We get more customers. We get we are growing our feature set. So we started from providing spot trading, and then we were the first exchange to add margin trading and peer-to-peer lending, right? So most of the crypto exchanges are, you can lend money, your crypto, your fiat on top of these exchanges, but they will act as a central bank. We, as Bitfinex, we are Bitcoiners, right? So, well, you heard me my ranting, right, for all this in this call. So we think that things should be peer-to-peer. We should act just as a way to interconnect people. So we treat also lending in a peer-to-peer fashion. So there is an order book for lending where lenders can match directly with borrowers, right? We are not in the middle. That's the beauty of it, right? So we are still the only exchange that has that. We were the first exchange to learn that. So we have spot trading, margin trading. We have peer-to-peer lending. We created also Bitfinex derivatives, that is a separate entity that offer perpetual swaps and general derivatives. And now we come up with this crazy brilliant idea that's called Bitfinex Securities. So that is another entity that is incorporated in AFC. That's a good example how our team is really good to collaborate with regulators. So the AFC is in Kazakhstan, is Astana. They created this new regulatory framework that is built based on the UK and Dubai regulatory framework. So they got this group of lawyers and so on from UK and Dubai to build this framework in Astana. They are basically Kazakhstan. Also, given the fact that China is cracking down on cryptos and on fintech in a way, they are positioning themselves as the place to go in Asia, in Central Asia, for collecting all the interest of fintech companies and crypto. And we have been working with the regulator for 18 months, right? It's not that they are granting licenses like in an easy way. They have been extremely thorough. They helped us to set up all the reporting framework that we have. We need to give to our users, but also to them. They gave us clear guidances on the project that we can onboard. And Bitfinex Securities is like, Bitfinex started from crypto, and now is looking at the entire securities world that is huge, right? And we have seen exchanges like the CME that started from that are traditional exchanges and are looking into crypto now. They have Bitcoin futures. But actually, Bitfinex is the opposite of the story, right? Started from crypto and now has this amazing technology that works 24/7, 7 days per week, 360 days per year, and never goes down, and is designed to make the experience of the customers as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Right. So if you try to trade on London Stock Exchange or on other platforms, it's like you as a retailer, you probably cannot.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, is even if you are a company, it's extremely complex. And they have really few customers. We as an exchange have millions of customers, many millions of customers, right? So we have to design our operations in a way that are extremely efficient, low cost, follow the regulation though. We develop all the KYC/ML platform in-house to protect user privacy as Bitfinex, because for us, privacy of the user is critical, right? So we developed that, but in a way that was perfectly integrated with our system so that we could scale up the number of onboardings that we do on a daily basis, right? So that's really different from the banking system.
Yeah.
Sorry, and from the traditional exchange system, right? So we are coming from crypto and we are coming for the traditional funds because and now with our license, we were the first one that were granted this license in the new regulatory framework. We can tokenize equities, so company shares. We can tokenize debt. So a company can create a bond, issue a bond on Bitfinex securities to raise capital to expand their operations. And we can also tokenize shares of funds. So we can be a fully fledged exchange that offer, we have Bitfinex Crypto, then there is Bitfinex Derivatives, another entity, and then there is Bitfinex Securities, another entity. And with all these three things, we can really be a complete exchange.
Yeah.
And also still, you can see the Bitcoiner style that is in us, right? So some other exchanges offered, they offer security tokens.
Yeah.
And the way to do it for them was, okay, let's wrap Google and let's wrap Apple shares and so on.
Yeah.
But you can trade this stuff on everywhere else, right? So on Robinhood, from your banking account, probably you might have a trading space. You can trade that on your bank account. So that's not interesting. I believe that the beauty of Bitcoin is like democratization to access to finance, and we want to democratize the access to be listed, do IPOs, and have a safe and liquid trading venue to companies, small and mid-sized companies around the world. Yeah. In Latin America, in Asia, in Africa, there are so many companies that don't have enough capital, enough lawyer power to be able to board on the top tier exchanges. We want to be an exchange that is more fair, more democratic in the access, and that allow companies that are unicorns, small unicorns, to be listed there, right? So that's why we are so excited.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool to hear the story and where to focus and all that, like regulatory, you basically check all the boxes, sounds like. So that's really exciting to hear. But I realize it's almost time. So I know you're super busy, but man, thanks so much again for coming to the show and then sharing the wisdom, honestly.
Well, that's so much my pleasure. Thank you very much, Yusuke.
Yeah, of course. And then honestly, there's more things I wanted to discuss. So maybe next time, I want to discuss like one topic I wanted to, get into is that the future of like a central exchange and decentralized exchange. I started to like merge together, like central exchange started to incorporating into like DeFi and all that. So I wanted to kind of dig into that if you have time. Also, I'm in the beginning of the conversation you mentioned about the robot, like you were talking about how you are inspired to begin with, right? I was talking to like the co-founder of Engine, and he was talking about there's a technology to basically there's a people who believe transferring the memory into like a blockchain. And then like basically store the memories and maybe transfer that to like different bodies and stuff like that. So I don't know, like maybe you must know you must have so much visions, maybe coming 20 years where the human civilization will go. So next time let's talk about those crazy stuff.
Look, my preferred author is Isaac Asimov. So I have, that is where I I get my passion for, this cyber futuristic world and stuff. So I think a lot about all this stuff. So I would love to have a follow-up chat with you about that, right? So how we see the future, we could see the future in 20, 30, 50 years, how actually you can build, and I would love to talk also about privacy, right? So how we can build, and in all this stuff that you were saying, like, download memory put somewhere, where is the privacy? How we can ensure privacy? How we can ensure, how we can work on artificial intelligence and, make it possibly secure. And so all this stuff is the thing that really excites me most.
Oh, I feel like I already see where it's going though. I can see the solution, but yeah, let's do that, honestly. So yeah, thanks so much for again today, and let's just keep in touch, and then let's set up another session sometime soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Yusuke.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cointelegraph. Like, subscribe, and hodl.